When Daniel moved into apartment 4C, the first thing he noticed was how quiet the building was. Not peaceful quiet, held breath quiet, the kind that made every footstep feel like an interruption. He told himself it was perfect. New job, new city, fresh reset. And Bruno, his loyal German shepherd, seemed to like it, at least at first. Night 1. Daniel woke at exactly 2:17 a.m. No sound, no nightmare, just the feeling that someone had called his name from very far away. The room was dark except for the glow of the digital clock. Bruno was sitting upright at the foot of the bed, perfectly still, staring at the wall. His ears were raised, his teeth slightly exposed. His throat was vibrating. Daniel whispered, "Bruno?" No response. Then he realized something that made his chest tighten. Bruno was barking, but there was no sound. The dog's body strained, his mouth opened wide, yet the room remained completely silent. Morning came and everything felt normal again. At the vet, Bruno barked loudly at another dog. Healthy, strong, real. Daniel convinced himself it was stress. But he didn't talk about the way the bedroom air had felt heavy, like something invisible had been standing there all night. Night 3. Daniel woke because Bruno's paw was pressing hard against his chest. The dog stood over him, staring into the corner. Daniel followed his gaze. Nothing, just darkness. But the dog began shaking. His mouth opened, his throat strained, silent barking again. Daniel turned on his phone flashlight. The beam swept across the room. Walls, window, wardrobe, then the corner. For a brief second, the light distorted, like heat waves bending reality. Then it was gone. Bruno suddenly relaxed and fell asleep beside him. The camera. Daniel installed a security camera the next day. Motion detection, night vision, audio recording. He didn't believe in ghosts. He believed in evidence. That night, sleep took him quickly. The footage. In the morning, he watched the recording. Hours of nothing. Then 2:17 a.m. Bruno stood up, walked to the corner, sat down, and began barking silently. Static appeared across the screen, soft at first, like dust floating in water. Then the dust started forming a shape, something darker than the darkness of the room. Tall, thin, wrong. It didn't step forward, it spread outward, like a stain growing. Bruno kept barking without sound. The shape leaned toward the dog. Daniel paused the video and zoomed in. For one frame, he saw it clearly. A face pushing halfway out of the wall, eyes wide, mouth open in a scream that could not be heard. The discovery. Daniel searched the building's history. 15 years earlier, a man had died in that same apartment. He lived alone with his dog. Neighbors had complained about constant barking. Then one night the barking stopped. Police found the dog dead near the bedroom wall. No injuries, no explanation. The man was found hours later. Heart failure, his face frozen in terror. Night 7. Daniel packed his bags. He was leaving. But as he zipped his suitcase, Bruno began growling. Not at the wall, at Daniel. No, through Daniel. Daniel turned slowly. The corner looked deeper than it should. Too dark, like space itself had folded. Cold filled the room. Bruno stepped in front of him. His mouth opened. The silent bark began again. Then the security camera powered on by itself. The red light blinked. And suddenly sound filled the room. Low, distant, like thunder underwater. Bruno's bark became audible. The wall began to ripple. A pale arm pushed through. Then another. The screaming face followed, dragging itself into the room. The creature moved toward Daniel with slow certainty. Daniel couldn't move, but Bruno could. The dog lunged forward. His bark exploded through the air, loud, furious, alive. The creature recoiled. Sound seemed to tear its shape apart. Lights flickered, glass cracked, the walls trembled. With each bark, Bruno forced the thing backward, until finally, with one last powerful cry, he drove it back into the corner. The darkness snapped shut. Silence returned. Real silence. Daniel collapsed. Bruno walked back calmly and rested his head on Daniel's lap. For the first time since moving in, his tail wagged. The ending. Daniel left the apartment the next morning. Months later, in a bright new home, Bruno slept peacefully beside him. No staring, no silent barking, just calm. Sometimes Daniel still woke at 2:17 a.m. He would look at the wall. Nothing, just shadows behaving like shadows should. And Bruno would lift his head and give one soft, normal bark, as if to say, "It's over. I'm still here. You're safe now."